up is we're live. Okay, good. We're on. Hopefully it sticks. So yeah, that meetup is so hard though, because like when you're doing dopey, that's the time you should be like resting if you're trying, because you've already run the half marathon. You got the full marathon the next day. I'm like, oh, that is so hard. I'm like, I wish that wasn't that. I wish it was like early in the morning, or we did it this year inside, at least over at the Contemporary, which was nicer because the weather was kind of sketch.
Right.
But okay, hang on. Let's see. I gotta go. I'll see if Instagram will work. Let's see. We're live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, and where else? X. And we're live on it. Okay, good. We're good, I think. Let's cross our fingers. And we can stay up there with all the sports people. Yeah, my wife was wanting to know, like, we were talking basketball. She's like, I know 14 SEC teams made the tournament. She's like, what two teams did make it? I was like, it was South Carolina. I was like, I know they didn't make the tournament because they came in last. I could not remember the other one. I forgot it was LSU. I was like trying to go around like geographically at the conference. I'm like, I can't remember.
There's just so many. There's so many teams now. You know.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I was like, it's usually Mizzou. It's usually us, but it wasn't this time. So God bless America. All right, so we will get started. No holiday Monday, I don't think. No. Mallory goes on spring break. Yeah, she just got her wisdom teeth yanked out yesterday. So
I remember that.
Yeah. See, I never got mine taken out, but yeah, she's got there because she had to do it this week before spring break ended because she has to have them out for prom, for cheerleading tryouts, and she's going to Kansas City next week over spring break for some DECA like business.
Oh yeah, I did DECA.
Or did she? See, I didn't even know. My wife and I never did DECA. We don't really know what it is other than like a business class kind of thing. But she made state, so she goes to the state competition.
That's awesome.
So we're excited for her. Some kind of business proposal thing. Like, do we go and like watch or cheer?
Yeah, I was on like the quiz bowl team for that.
Nice. Because we have no idea. Because like, she's been a cheerleader all this time. Her daughter was in, or her sister was in every sport. We're like, so like, you're going to Kansas City. Like, do we go? And like, is there like parents like watch? And I mean, she's like, no, we just go and present. And well, we don't want to have parents like. She's like, I'll text you. I was like, okay,
there you go.
Okay, fine. It's cheaper.
Right.
We'll say, I'll do my podcast.
Save a little bit of money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally fine. All right. So let's go. Here we go. 2662. Welcome to episode 2662 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great week, and shout out to all of our teachers out there this week. Hopefully, maybe you have made it to spring break, but if you haven't, hang in there, because I know if you haven't made it to spring break, it is white knuckle time. Keep your head on a swivel because you're getting close. We're making it almost there. I was there at one time, but if you have made it to spring break, congratulations. Spend some time. You missed that couch. You missed the remote control. Watch some basketball, watch some soap operas, watch some Netflix, whatever you like. But take the podcast with you. Don't give up on the podcast, but enjoy that well-deserved R&R and recharge for that final push to summer. But today we're going to get you there with a fun trip report, little Walt Disney World, little Disney Cruise Line, lots of fun. Heading down to one of my favorite states, Louisiana. You won't find a better place to meet friendly people. We got Steven joining us today. Steven, what's going on down in Louisiana today? What's up?
Just enjoying some beautiful 70-degree weather and excited to talk to you again.
I'm so glad to talk to you. And, we were talking in the pre-show before we went live that I like to have fun with LSU fans here on the show. I say that, I think that Walt Disney World's missing an opportunity sometimes that they should, during Mardi Gras season, which I think we're in right now. Yes, we are, right?
Oh, we are just past it.
Okay, see. I was raised Baptist, so but a lot of Catholic here in where I grew up. But Mardi Gras and LSU fans, like if you could just, because I know Universal does a lot with that, but I mean Disney, like just get Ed Ogeron to like lead a parade. Studios, Magic Kingdom, and LSU fans and their jerseys, the black and the gold, or the purple and the gold, and I mean you got something right there because they're just friendly and they just want to talk to everybody and just loud and fun. I mean it's just
Exactly.
great. I love it.
I mean, so they do a little thing. I don't know if you know this, but at Port Orleans, they actually do a small parade cast members do over on the resort over at Port Orleans. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of our listeners, Jason and Veronica, they went over there and they covered it for our Discord channel or brguestpodcast.com/clubhouse on that morning. It was big. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like they floats and big going on. They shared it with us that morning and I loved it. They took the time to shoot video and pictures. So if you want to see that, it is over there in the resorts channel. So check it out at brguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. But anyway, let's get into your story. So give us a little backstory just about your Disney fandom real quick, because we got a lot to cover today. But down in Louisiana, kind of how do you connect with Disney? What's your little backstory here?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a Disney Channel kid. Like we were subscribers when it was the premium service on cable. We had the VHS tapes when I was growing up. We wore them out. Ruined all the boxes that would be worth so much money right now, or at least that's what they told us. But just loving the movies. And then, as I got a little bit older, just kind of strayed away from it. And then when my wife and I got married and we went on a big family trip for that first time when our oldest was 2, just really fell in love with the parks again. And really have been in love ever since. And we've done regular trips with the big family. We've done our own little trips. We've even been blessed enough to make a wish trip with our little cancer survivor who's now almost 7.
That is awesome. We'll talk about that too at the end of the show, because again, you got to go down to Give Kids World, place that we love. We're just there supporting them just a few weeks back. And I want you to give just a little bit about your story there so folks can know the good stuff they do there. But let me ask you this one quick question. If you could go and bring back an experience from your childhood that's no longer at Walt Disney World, is there something that you wish you could go back and do from those trips from maybe your younger days?
I really feel
restaurant attraction, something like that.
Yeah, no, not anything in particular, just because like I really love the Walt mantra of like that it's not meant to be a museum. Obviously I still haven't even been on Tiana's yet. So I missed the attraction of Splash Mountain, but I know that it's still there, just living on it in a different form. And I like seeing what's new. Like I love how it's constantly changing, and the competition that drives that change is always great to see.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. I mean, I love that mantra because, like you say, Splash Mountain is there. It's just in its next generation, its next iteration. And I honestly, it's not that I don't want to go on. It's just I'm kind of, as I get older, I just don't want to get wet when it's cold. Like I'm becoming more of a baby. I've been there and it's like, it's like 60. I don't really want to get wet yet. It's got to be like 85 at this point. So I can't. Right. And plus, I had the virtual queue at that time and all that jazz. So now, my style, I can just hop in line and let's go. And I'll be there in July. So we'll see if I can get in there. But let's talk about this trip. We got a lot going on. So how did this trip we're going to talk about today come together? Because it sounds like a big one.
Yeah. So my in-laws are Disney Vacation Club members. So typically every 2 to 3 years, we do a big family trip. So it ends up being, now we're up to 14 people, where we started off at like 10. So we are, it was just that time, and my mother-in-law really wanted to do a big family Disney cruise. So we looked around and shopped around and really wanted to go to Castaway Cay and the new island Lookout Cay. And so the fantasy really fit the bill, and it was like the right amount of nights that we were looking for, and then also the price was not too crazy for us as well. Because having 3 kids, it can get quite expensive on these trips.
Right. Once you get into those 5-person staterooms, you all of a sudden you only have one option. If you want to be in the same stateroom, you're looking at the deluxe family ocean view with a veranda.
Right. Well, we did end up splitting up with kids.
Oh, okay. Good idea. Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah. Yeah. And it still gets me. I mean, again, I do this every day, but it still gets me when the fantasy, I'm still, again, it takes me a little bit, but the fantasy, I still remember only doing 7-night cruises because it used to be the one that only did the Eastern and the Western 7-night Caribbean cruises. But now, because I asked you in the pre-show, oh, you did a shorter cruise. That was the Wish, right? And you're like, no, it's fantasy. Because now with all these, the treasures taking over that run.
That 7-night cruise,
yeah, these ships are now doing different itineraries, which I think is awesome because people get to have different experiences on different different itineraries, which is going to be exciting. So let me ask you this. So how did you feel about your first Disney cruise? Like, were you excited? Were you tentative? Were you, how did you feel? Because you have all this Walt Disney World background. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, I was trying to go into it with an open mind. I'm very much a planner. So I like watching YouTube videos about different things. One, because like I want to know what I'm getting into. Totally. Because I don't like being lost, when I do something particularly. So we watched a lot of different videos, like the lay of the land of the stateroom, trying to figure out the best way to pack for this type of trip, especially this time of year when you don't know what the weather's really going to be like, because it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be both. And so just trying to figure all that stuff out. So I was excited, especially never having done any cruise before. I just didn't have anything to compare it to. So it was just really trying not to be so anticipatory of what was going to happen.
And how old were the kids?
So we have a 12, 9, and 6-year-old.
Ooh, perfect age though.
Yeah, that was the whole point of like waiting till this time, is when the kids were at the right age to be able to go and just kind of enjoy, to where our oldest is not too old, and then our youngest was not too young.
So so real quick before we kind of get into the pre-cruise stuff at World, like how did you get everybody excited? Like just your family, like the kids and so forth around the house.
So pretty much
Disney cruise, because it is different, right? You're going on a big boat, you're going to do, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so getting them excited about, especially like the aqueduct, like things that they're going to enjoy, and hyping up the kids clubs, which, we cannot say enough wonderful things about the Oceaneers Club, and then Edge, which is for the tweens. Those were the ones that we experienced, obviously, just with the ages of our kids. And they all had such a blast. Like, they didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave those clubs to go eat dinner. I'm like, well, you got to eat,
It's a requirement. Yes, you must eat. Yes. But that's a good sign, right? It means they're having fun, they're comfortable, they're enjoying themselves, and they're
making friends too. Like,
I mean, I think I've told the story here on the show, is that when we went on we went on a 7-night cruise this past summer on the Fantasy, when it was still doing the 7-nighters, and Mallory, no kidding, like somebody was on the cruise that she met in Edge on our previous cruise like 2 years ago. Like they were on the same cruise together, and they were still talking via Snapchat or whatever, some social media that they had kept in, not daily communications, but like they met on the ship, and they bunch of them made a group chat or something during the cruise, and they had still kind of kept in touch a little bit, and boom, they were in, I guess on Snapchat you can kind of see where everybody is, and lo and behold, he was on the ship. So they they connected again, and they hung out on the ship, and it is kind of fun that everybody can kind of make friends and have a good time. I mean, of course, they're younger and stuff, but I mean, you become fast buds. And I'll tell you what, it's not just the kids that happens with. I mean, Scott and I say this all the time. You can become friends with your table mates and really fast, and people you're doing tastings with, and, just people you see around the ship, maybe people you play trivia with and kind of stuff like that. I always enjoy that. That's what I like about cruises. It's very social. So let's kind of hop back to the beginning. So when you went down to World pre-cruise, give us some highlights from that. What time of the year did you guys go?
So this was just a few weeks ago, over the Mardi Gras break, because that's when the kids are out of school for the whole week. It's kind of like our spring break. So it was like the end of February, very beginning of March of 2025. And, the weather was absolutely perfect. Like, we drove down like we always do, just because 5 people, it's a lot more expensive to fly. And we liked the road trip aspect of it. And so we drove down, the turnpike had accidents on both sides. So we had to take some swampy back roads to make our way, which was fun. And it's always interesting. It's never a dull drive getting to Disney for our family. So that was cool. And we stayed. We did a split stay for those 2 nights, mostly because I really wanted to take advantage of the water park option on your check-in day. So a little bit of a hack. If you're getting there a little bit late, do a little split stay. Do one night in an all-star if you're staying at a deluxe the next day, to where you can utilize that throughout the rest of this year. And so we stayed at Bay Lake Tower that very first night, which was, I hate to say it's a little let down, but it kind of is right now because it's under refurbishment. And so the walkway that connects to the main tower at the Contemporary was closed. So you had to go down the elevator all the way on the ground level, then go up the escalators just to get to the concourse level, which was rough.
That's not super convenient. I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So, because it wasn't what we were expecting. And then, so we transferred over to Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is where the rest of the family was staying the night before the cruise, so we could all be together and head out towards the port all at the same time. And that was nice. And I do have to say, Animal Kingdom, especially like Kidani Village, has nothing on the All-Stars or Pop Century. Like, especially if your room is all the way down at the end, like ours was, you are walking forever.
Did you get your 5K medal when you got to your room? Because
exactly.
I stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I was like, dude, I've run a 5K, and I know I should get one for getting to my room. I mean,
right.
I get it because they have to do that so they can have a Savannah views. It's like a gigantic horseshoe, but I always get one that's on the end. Like, it's like Mike Rallman's here. Let's make sure he gets. I mean, they know I like to film my circles, and they're trying to help me out, I think.
Right.
It's like, you're gonna film, sucker, because you're gonna walk this thing 5 times today, and we got you. But did you find the kids like him? Because Kidani's got a cool little. Did you guys get to use the pool there, or did you just not because you went?
So for that day that we checked in there, my 2 older kids and I went to Blizzard Beach just to kind of check it out. It was our first time going to the water parks, and they had a blast. Like, we got there like shortly after like park open for that, and really we were able to experience all the different slides and stuff within the first couple of hours of just being there, to where when it got crowded a little bit later in the day, we were able to say, hey, let's back it up, let's head back and just go enjoy the resort. But our youngest one stayed back with our in-laws, enjoying the pool with her little cousin, and they just had a blast over there, just like hanging out at the splash pad. Obviously, it was a little bit cooler than what we had anticipated, but it didn't stop anybody from having a great time.
Kids will swim when it's 35 degrees.
It's true.
I mean, I remember Pam made me get in the pool one time at All Star Sports with Paige, and it was like 40. I was like, you promised her you're going to swim with her in Florida. I was like, I promised her like in July. It is December. She's like, get in there. And I was still trying. I was still trying to get her at that point. We weren't married at that point. So I did, it's what you do when you're trying to get them still.
Right.
So Blizzard Beach though, what was did you guys do anything like Summit Plummet, or because I haven't been there in ages? I mean,
we started with Summit Plummet.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
We wrote, like, I asked my kids, like, hey, what do y'all want to do first? Like, let's do the big tall one. I'm like,
let's go.
Okay. So we rode the chairlift all the way up, and then we took up the stairs, and sure enough, the very first thing that we went on, and they both had a blast. I got that thing will beat you up a little bit.
Yes, it will. I was gonna say that could be your first and last ride of the day.
It could be. It definitely can beat you up, and we just went from there. But like, they had such a blast doing that. I was like, okay, go big or go home.
I love it, because I remember back in my younger days, Paige and I did that thing, and I just remember every time we got to the bottom, we're like, "Oh man!" It gives you the world's biggest wedgie. It's
it's true.
Okay, so you guys also went over and kind of said you're like everybody's doing, especially in these last few days, last couple of weeks here, saying goodbye to Muppet Vision, and I saw that some of our friends are saying goodbye to Mama Melrose this week. A lot of people over on Grand Avenue, with sad faces, but you're kind of doing those things too.
Yeah. So Muppet Vision 3D is one of my wife's favorite attractions. And so she was like, are we going to get a chance to see it before we leave? I was like, well, let's talk about it, because obviously 1-day tickets are not inexpensive. So maybe you can do it. So she and her sister actually got the 1-day ticket to Hollywood. They got to experience it twice, as well as the other things over at Hollywood that everybody loves to enjoy, Rise and Rock and Roller Coaster, especially before the Muppets take over that, later on, sometime in the near future.
I'm excited for the Muppets coming to Rock and Roller Coaster. I think that'll be fun. They can really do that creatively. But man, Muppet Vision is unique. I love it. It's just, it's so perfect.
We will see. Hopefully it'll live on, for us to enjoy some way. That's what they're telling us. So
it'll never be the same. But I know I don't want to sound like the get off my grass guy, because I know I'm starting to sound that way, and I am a very positive person. I want to be like you. Everything needs to change, but it's so classic. I just hate to see something like that go away. So, okay, make sure we get all this in. So again, first cruise, you're getting ready. So how did you guys get over to the port? Did you guys use Disney Cruise Line transfers? You guys do private? Or did you guys drive yourself?
So we drove ourselves, just because the transfer since we drove to Florida, we would have needed some place to put our car, because Disney doesn't allow you to leave it on resort property while you're gone, understandably. But the part of our party that flew, they took Disney transfer and had a very seamless transition. We drove, that's why I said in my little thing, you got to pack your patient pants, and then just hop on. And
you have patient pants and ice cream. I was like, okay,
patient pants and ice cream. Yeah, because as soon as you get on, you head to deck 11 and you go get your ice cream.
Amen. That's exactly right. Yes, but so I get this feeling, and Scott is exactly the same, because we talk we talk every day, and we're really big on cruising. I mean, we're like 110 on 1 to 100 scale on cruising. Did you get that feeling when you kind of came over towards Cocoa, towards Port Canaveral, when you crest that hill there and you start to see the cruise ship for the very first time? You see the two funnels kind of peeking over on the left. There's no feeling in the world for me still. And I've done over 20 cruises. Like, that is just the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, what was that like with your family when you made it over?
It was very exciting to see it over. We had to make a little pit stop at the Walmart in Cocoa. First, my wife just wanted to bring on some extra water just in case, and trying to get change, for the porters and everything like that. So because we only had big bills.
Yes. Yeah.
But, just like seeing it for the first time. And we've had, the Disney, one of the classic ships sails out of New Orleans. So I've seen it from the port in New Orleans, but even still, like, the immensity of the ship and how large they actually are is just really incredible to see. And especially like walking up and walking through the Mickey ears, walking through Mickey, and you're walking into this grand lobby that is going to be floating in the middle of the ocean. It's just like it was overwhelming, really, to just kind of like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on this ship for the next 5 days. And and it's such a beautiful lobby. Like, it's such a beautiful atrium that they have on the Fantasy, with the peacock theming and the chandelier. And, just hearing your family name announced. And then, of course, you make your way up to deck 11 to go get some ice cream first, and then you go grab some food.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all about the food. As soon as you get on board, you're up to cabanas, or you can have a sit down lunch if you want, or like you said, I mean, everybody needs to have an ice cream cone in their hand within an hour. I mean, if you don't,
exactly,
one in each hand. I mean, heck, they're free. You've already paid for them. So you had the group of 14, right, sailing with you. So did you guys have any trouble like reconnecting at the terminal before you went through the ears, or did you guys kind of board separately, or how'd you guys get back together?
Yeah, so we all boarded separately. Obviously, when you're in port, you're still able to use your phone through regular service and everything like that. But one of the best things about, like, we're all iPhone users, this is not a plug or anything like that, but like, you're able to use iMessage when you're out in the water, like using just the ship Wi-Fi. So that made it really easy to stay connected throughout the whole cruise, because our two older, like our tweens that we had on the trip with us, had their non-functioning phones, because they're not quite at the age where we're ready for them to have full functioning phones. So they had like old ones that didn't have service, but they were able to stay connected, especially since with Edge, they're able to come and go as they please. So we really wanted to make sure that they were connected with us at all times.
Yeah, and you can also use WhatsApp too for free throughout the cruise if you have like an Android phone. So that works the same way. So yeah, it's nice that they offer that service that you can stay in touch, and also you can use the Navigator app. But that thing for keeping in touch is not.
Yeah, it's just a little clunky for that.
You got to keep checking it. You got to keep checking. Oh, I got a message, but it doesn't notify you necessarily like iMessage or WhatsApp. I've never used WhatsApp in my life. All my friend and I apologize to all of our European listeners who are like, Mike, what's your WhatsApp number? I'm like, I'm from Missouri. I don't know.
Right.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I just don't. Just never have. So okay, so you get on the ship, you're on there. So tell us about like your first day, because you did. I've never done anything the first day other than sail away and have dinner and kind of get myself settled. Yeah. You actually did a tasting, you played some trivia. I love how you're like embracing, man. You're taking the bull by the horns on day one. Like,
yeah. So trivia was a big thing for our family. Obviously we all reconnected for the sail away party. We had what we think is the best spot to catch the sail away party, which is on deck 12, right in front of like the entrance to the aqueduct. So like you have the direct view of the stage. And we were right there center. It was just the perfect view for the sail away party. We took in some trivia and started with what I thought would be, I'm a pretty good Disney trivia buff, and
I'm real quick. I gotta tell you, Stephen, dude, Disney trivia on a Disney cruise.
It's insane.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I book Disney travel for a living. I host a Disney podcast with 2,700 episodes. I bow out. I'm never winning, even if it's theme park trivia. Forget it.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm not winning. No, not.
Yeah. So, for that first one, I was like, oh, I could probably do really well at that. And I did. And then there was always that one person that had one more question than I did. Like, I just sat there and it was the whole cruise long, and we'll get into that. Like, I even got a nickname from my family that was second place Steven. It was just like every single trivia. And I did like 10 plus and I came in second place, like every single time.
I love it. That's so me too. I just get so frustrated because I just play it for the fun, right? I love it because I'll just, I'll go I always go to trivia with like my cup full of Coke Zero.
Yeah.
And I'll always get a snack somewhere to bring with me. So I'm sitting there with a snack and a Coke Zero. So I'm just chilling, in O'Gill's or wherever they're wherever it is. We're just having a good time playing trivia. But I am kind of competitive and I would like to win. And it's always second place.
And I'm like, and it's just a plastic medallion. Like, why do I care so much about a plastic medallion is what I'm thinking.
It's just like, I know it's going to happen. Because keep your hand up if you have 10, 11, 12. I'm like, oh, I might. Nope. Ouch.
Nope. I'm out.
Done. Okay.
And so it's so defeating when you're like the second to last person and then they're like, oh, look, here's our winner.
Yes, exactly. I love these stories. I love these Monday shows. But you did a tasting on night one, the embarkation day. So that's awesome. I know they offer these, but was it full? Because I don't think a lot of people even think to go.
So we did a bourbon tasting. It was at Meridian, and it was just all the adult men in there because we've done the bourbon trail in Kentucky, and so we're very into that, and it was good. It was just a great way to end that first night. Just kind of chilling out, hearing some things that we've already learned about bourbon, and just getting to sip and taste. And of course, at the end, you make a version of an old fashioned from the bartender, and everybody has their like little nuances, which makes it, every bartender makes it a little bit differently. So it's nice to get to experience that and just like have that time to kind of hang out without the kids as adults is very, very great. So I would recommend doing that, hitting it hard. Obviously you can't do everything on one cruise. Like that is the one thing, and I know you stress it with Disney World. It's the same thing with the cruise. There's just always so much to do, and you're not going to be able to do everything.
I tried to sign up for everything on our podcast cruise coming up in July. I don't think I'm going to do it all, but I tried, and we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm trying because I want to do everything with everybody because we got a lot of friends selling with us. But I don't know if I'll be getting off the ship, but on July 6th. We'll see what I look like on the 11th, but it'll be fun. But Meridian, I mean, that's such a beautiful location there between, the back of the ship by Palo and Remy,
Yeah.
right? Yes. And and plus what I like about the tastings too is that, these things is that you get to kind of know the bartenders, and they kind of then, especially early in the cruise, you run into them later. And then, if they make something during one of these, classes or tasting sessions that you enjoy, you can go up to the bar and they can,
they'll make it again for you.
always a plus. It's kind of fun. Okay. So day one on this cruise, you guys went to Nassau, and this was you guys also did Palo Brunch on your Nassau day. Usually that's on the sea day. So tell us about this day. What was the highlights?
Yeah. So Palo Brunch is definitely a highlight. And again, so much food. Like, it's just like, it's so many courses of food, and it's in the morning, you're in the back of the ship, you just have this great view of the water, and highly recommend the apple cinnamon Mickey waffle that they bring you. One, it's like the big Mickey waffle. It's not the little ones that you get like on a resort or anything. So that just makes it better in general. And like, it was just the best Mickey waffle that I've ever had. With the churro waffles that come on the sea day as a close second, personally.
And I mean, I've said it many times. The Palo Brunch is the best meal I have every year. Like, it's just like they just keep bringing great food, and and then you get dessert if you want it. The desserts are amazing, and the service is outstanding. And it's my kind of food because this is where Scott and I are a little bit different. Like, Scott really likes the really fancy kind of food, where Palo to me is like just fancy enough. Like, it's chicken parm. But it's kind of fancy, but it's still just chicken parm, and they got, really flatbreads, but really all it is nice pizza, but it's all good stuff. Like you said, waffles, but they're the best waffles you'll have in your life, sticky buns. I mean, all that stuff.
Oh yeah. The almond croissant and the bread service part, like that was the bomb.
Yeah, it's just right amount. It's just perfectly fancy. You don't need to go fancier than Palo Brunch. That's perfect. So you also guys did the rainforest room. So tell us about that, because we always get questions about what that's like.
Yeah. So the rainforest room, we did the week-long package. So like the length of stay, obviously. And I think it was $119 for this particular sailing, which it's not for everybody. My wife was not the biggest fan of it, but they have 3 different saunas in this room, as well as the different experience showers and the heated loungers, the hot tubs that overlook the water with a nice sea breeze coming through. Like, it is something that I will do on every Disney cruise that I do, just because it was so worth it, because it's such a nice, like, relaxation time. Like, you get in there, it's quiet. It was never like extremely busy. And they tell you that it's busy at certain times. So I didn't really go at those times, but like the times that I went, which was like after my morning run, that's when I would go, just to kind of, sweat out a little bit more, because why not sweat a little bit more when you're on a Disney cruise, and just experience the nice cooling showers. And it's just a really great place to chill out and relax for adults. And like, really the Caldarium spot is the best. It's the most humid, which felt kind of like a summer day in Louisiana.
Like you're Death Valley in September.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. No, I got it one time. We got to pass, my wife and I, and I'll be honest, like, I can't sit still. Like, I liked it. Like, I sat on like those heated stone lounger things, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's so good. I'm like, but I can't sit still.
It was funny, the amount of people, the amount of people that you would walk in, you'd see just like sleeping there.
See, that's yeah, I did fall asleep when I was on that for a little bit. I took it because I can nap. I'm good at napping. I nap on those. What I do is I nap on those loungers on deck 4, because you talk, the track down there, which we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, running on deck 4, and then I would just, zonk out on one of those loungers. But that's the best thing. Like, if you're out at sea, it's peaceful. I mean, I don't know why. Like, that is the best place to just snooze. Like, there's a breeze and the water's going by, and I mean, there's probably better views up in the adult area, and it's probably more comfortable. For some reason, I tend to relax more on deck 4. I don't know. So you ran on deck 4. I mean, what did you think down there?
It's so nice. Obviously, if you're a runner and you're running with any kind of fitness thing, your time is not accurate,
Oh yeah, but it's
but
great.
it makes you feel really good.
You're super
About,
fast.
those are my fastest miles in like the longest time.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't delete those because it'll for your yearly stats,
Yeah,
it'll pad you a little bit.
yeah. So, however, like I know for real that 2.5 times around is a mile, so I know my real time.
Absolutely. I know you gotta keep
But
track.
my watch says something different, and that makes me feel really good.
Mike Bankhead is the king of that. He posts those every day when he's on a cruise. He'll post, that he ran a 218 mile.
Yeah,
Like, dude, you were flying, Mike.
and,
You've been
and
doing
it's really nice. Like when in the morning, like if you get up early enough in the morning and you go out there, like you get to see the sunrise, and like one side of the ship is dark and the other side of the ship is light, and it's just it keeps it mixed up enough to where you're not feeling the monotony of just running around like a 3rd-mile track.
Yeah, I agree. And like I always, I'm always stopping to take pictures too. Like, I'll take one that one's, the one when you come out of I think it's the aft of the ship. There's like an open porthole, right? And I think it's just
Mhm.
like a natural frame. And if you can get like the sun coming up on that side, it just, oh man, you get some great pictures, especially you get a little clouds in the distance. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait to be on a ship. You got me so excited. July can't get here soon enough. Okay, so tell us about though your first night, Enchanted Garden, right there on deck 2. So what'd you think about dining there with the family?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, all the food is really good on a Disney cruise. I don't know if this was my favorite, and obviously, with having 6 kids, 12 and under, it's a little chaotic for our party, and one of them was in a cast. Um, yeah, because that is our life. That's
You gotta
kids.
have like a little, something a little rougher there to make it a little.
Yeah. So we were there. I mean, we had just, I mean, the service is so fantastic. We had 2 wonderful servers because we were table 14, so we needed to just to our little table. And shout out to Masi and Goran on the Disney Fantasy. They are just top notch. The entire cruise, just fantastic. And that one's, it's such a beautiful restaurant. Like, and you're on deck 2, and like the fact that it transitions from day to night, it's just it's such an experience. Like all the dining on a Disney cruise is an experience, and they try and make it that for you.
Did they still have the ahi tuna appetizer on the?
Yes.
Oh, that's my favorite. I love that at that restaurant. Oh my gosh. See, because my family doesn't eat seafood. So the only time I get it's when we're on a cruise. So, oh my gosh, I get that every time at that restaurant. Now, your next day, I'm guessing, was your Castaway Key day where you didn't get to go in. Because I remember seeing
Yeah.
not be able to because of highway.
This is where like my meticulous planning and trying to figure out came in handy, because if I hadn't known that it was a possibility that we might not dock, my attitude probably would have been way worse on that day. But knowing that it was a possibility, and they had kind of said it the night before, the captain did, that it's looking like the winds are kind of changing, they might be a little bit harder. And of course, like after my run, I went up to deck 12, and I was just kind of looking at the forward of the ship and looking out right next to another LSU Louisiana person, so just kind of bonding, and they tried so hard to get us on dock, but it wasn't safe. So like,
let me just ask you though, because this is just like the nerd in me. Like, how close did they get? Like, what was it? What did it look? Because I've never been on a like unsuccessful docking cruise. Like, what did they? I mean, did you see the dock? I mean, did they?
Yeah, like you're like probably about a good 100 yards.
Oh wow, actually,
out, like, I mean, you're like
really
sideways to the island, and like they're trying to turn it, but like the wind's coming directly across that dock, and it's coming in at 30 knots, which like it needs to really be below like 18 for them to dock safely. But they tried, and it just wasn't meant to be. And of course, like while I'm in the rainforest room that morning after that's when the announcement came on, just not going to be able to. So we're just going to have this unexpected day at sea. And like the cruise directors did a fantastic job of just adding things to the schedule on board for the day. And really, that was the day that we got to explore the ship a whole lot. I did the Midship Detective Agency 3 times with 2 of my kids.
They probably love it.
And I'm not a big
forever. You know, like your kids will remember that. Like, they'll be like,
yeah.
I do that with dad all day.
Well, and the reason why I did it 3 times is because my little one lost her paper, so we had to start over again.
And this is why. Okay, I was wondering. Now, I just put 2 and 2 together because you also put that you had 75 flights of stairs, and that is because it's all over the ship. That's exactly why.
It's all over the ship, and you're going up and down, and obviously you wait longer to take the elevator than it is to the stairs. So
that's it.
Might as well just take the stairs. You know, according to my watch, it said 75 flights of stairs. It's like,
I totally believe it, because that thing is all over the place and up and down. And those, flights of stairs add up on a cruise if you wanted to. And I'm a big believer in taking the stairs most of the time on the ship, because I just eat everything that I come in contact with on a cruise, because it's also good. That's, it's vacation, right? So I do try to justify that eating by taking the stairs. I don't know how
absolutely,
much, but that makes my brain feel better. so I've gotten close to that, but yeah, that's funny. So what kind of things did they add though? I mean, obviously first time cruiser, you don't know if it was out of the norm, but I mean, what kind of activity?
So they added some more. So they obviously, the character greetings that they would normally do on Castaway Cay, they brought onto the ship. Like Jack Sparrow was brought into like the lobby area where the shops are. And then they brought like some of the scenery into the atrium area that they would do those meet and greets out there. They added some extra trivias. I don't know if they added any extra tastings or not. I didn't really look at that, but I would assume that they did, just because, nobody was getting off the ship that day. So we were just kind of stuck. So we got to go and really just kind of explore everything, and got to play miniature golf in like the gale force winds that were at the top.
That's rough in the wind. Exactly.
Yeah, there was one hole where the ball, you hit it and it just rolled straight back. That's how heavy the winds were. So
in normal conditions, it's rough playing mini golf. On deck. Now, so you didn't get off in Nassau, right? You guys stayed on the ship there. So
my wife and one of my daughters got off to go shopping. But I really didn't have any interest, just because we were going to Palo, so our day was kind of cut in half.
Yep.
So we didn't want to like run the risk of not getting back on the ship, which I know is kind of hard to do. But I've seen it happen, and I don't want to be the guy that people are like, haha, you didn't make it.
Yeah. You'll be the star of all the YouTube videos.
Exactly.
You don't want to be that guy. Okay, so day 3 though, you do get to look out, and finally, and you said you were ready to get off the ship, which I don't blame you, right? I mean, you didn't get off in Nassau. You thought you get off of Castaway. You didn't get off of Castaway, but you get to look out. Obviously, the new island, the new experience. First time cruiser though, so give us your review of the lookout. And you also said good barbecue, or true barbecue, and that's coming from somebody in the South. So
true barbecue, and really getting off the ship, it was much needed. The weather that day was great. Wasn't too chilly, had a nice breeze going. I think of all the places, that's probably where I was most excited to dock. Aside from not getting to get my 5, so I didn't get any plastic medals because we didn't get to do the 5K on Castaway. I didn't get any plastic medals at all. Like I could have had my consolation, because I definitely was going to get the 5K, but that wasn't meant to be. But like the videos that I had seen of Lookout Key were just, the water was so blue, and of all the things of the cruise experience, that was the thing that I was most excited, because we live on the muddy Mississippi. It's brown water. The Lake Pontchartrain, it's brown water. We don't see blue water here. So that's what I was really excited about. Like, you just get down there, and it's just that walkway, which I know that there's so many like people that complain about it. I'm like, it's really not that bad. I mean, at least the day that we were there, It wasn't too hot. The breeze was blowing. So I'm guessing if it were hotter, I could see it being a little bit cumbersome and, frustrating to walk that far. But really, when you think about that Princess Key just down the way from Lookout Key, they have to tender. And if that day was like the day before, they weren't able, like the cruise ship that was there, they weren't able to go to Princess Key. So, because of that walkway, you don't have to really worry about it because the walkway's far enough out that the ship should be able to dock easily, or at least a lot more easily than Castaway Key. So the walkway really wasn't all that bad. The tram ride is nice, getting to the main part of the island, or the area, because it's one big island. It's just the little Disney part is just a little small part of the
island. It's a piece.
Yeah. And so it was definitely crowded because obviously there was a lot of people having not gotten off the day before, and they really wanted to get off and enjoy Lookout Key. But it's just like, it's a lot more natural. Like they focused on the natural, whereas like what I've heard and seen, like Castaway looks a little more commercial, a little more Disney-fied, and they're focusing on the Bahamian culture that they have down there. And really, as we were leaving that day, they were having their like little Junkanoo parade, and it looked like Mardi Gras, like 100%. Like they're in the costumes that look like Mardi Gras costumes, and they're just jamming on their band and the drums and stuff, and just making their way with Mickey and Minnie leading. And it's just a really cool sight to see. That fun. And then the water's so clear, so blue, and then the sand there is so fine. Like my sister-in-law said, it felt like clay. That's how fine the sand is there. And it, like, you pick it up and there are these pink flecks in it from the sea animals and stuff like that. And it felt so good to walk on that sand.
I can't wait because I still haven't been there. This is gonna be my first experience with Lookout when we go in July, and I am so excited because I've been to Castaway a bunch of times, and I like the idea of celebrating the Bahamian culture and just the food's just a little bit better. It's just a little bit different. It's beautiful. I mean, Pam raves about it all the time, so I am super excited. And like I said, I'd rather have the walk than the tendering any day of the week.
They said that the barbecue was great. The ribs were really tasty. It was Ash Wednesday, so I wasn't able to have meat that day. So I partook in the seafood jambalaya, which was really good. Just wish it had a little bit more seafood in it. But the people who did eat the barbecue said it was fantastic.
Man, what a day. What a day to be there on barbecue, man. That's a rough one. So the Pirate Night, what did you guys think of Pirate Night? Your first Pirate Night experience?
So Pirate Night was really great. The show on the pool deck, on the Lido deck and deck 12, just getting to watch that. It was a lot of fun. The kids had a blast, like absolute blast, enjoying that. And then I actually skipped the fireworks that night just because I had seen the videos and it looked a little unimpressive.
It's definitely not happily ever after.
So and having seen
pretty cool for me to see, I like it.
Yeah, it's cool that it's at sea. And my 12-year-old did. He stuck it out. He took the video. I was like, oh, that's cool. It is not happily ever after. We ended up in the room that night getting chicken tenders and Mickey bars into the room, and just kind of enjoyed the room that night. It was great.
That's winning too. Chicken tenders and Mickey bars in the room. That's a make your own Pirate Night right there. So I like
exactly.
All right, so now day 4, this is your scheduled day at sea, which is always one of my favorite days because one, you get the Mickey churro waffles.
Mickey churro waffles,
so good. I'd probably pay $20 for a plate of those right this moment. But tell us about the highlights of this day besides the churro waffles.
So churro waffles are obviously the second best to the apple cinnamon, in my opinion. And I was really fortunate that morning because our server Masi was working in cabanas and like saw me walk up, and I was like, hey, and she's like, you want some churro waffles? And she like snuck her way into the line to give me the churro waffles. Because like that was really the only thing that I went into cabanas for that morning. I was like, that's the only thing that I want is just the churro waffles. And so she got me.
Does anybody say no to Mickey churro waffles? Like, if you're on a Disney Cruise Line ship, are you going to say no to Mickey churro waffles? If not, walk the plank. I mean,
exactly. So they were so good, and then just hanging out that day, like with the kids, just kind of doing different things with each of them, like individually, like whatever they wanted to do. Our youngest one loved the pool so much, which, you know, it's really just like kid soup, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, I'm past the pools. On the cruise is like,
Like, but
"Oh,
she
cool."
loved it. She wanted to be in the Mickey pool pretty much the whole time, but it's just like there's always like 50 kids in there, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
I agree.
you can go and have fun. I'm sitting on the side just watching her, making sure that, you
Mhm.
know, she's not going too crazy in there and no one's going to push her. And,
Yeah.
but they love the Mickey slide. That, you know, my kids, I couldn't even tell you how many times they went on the aqueduct all together. Um, like really, we kind of have that chill day. That last day did a lot more trivia, especially that night. For the trivia, we did like an adults night, the pub crawl, like through O'Gill's and Ooh La La and the Tube, like all the different the Europa clubs that they have for the adults down there, while
Skyline.
intermixing Skyline Lounge, which is fantastic. So immersive with like the screens and how it changes. And if you have your Magic Band Plus or Disney Band Plus, it sparkles when the skyline changes when you're sitting
Right.
in there, which is really kind of cool. So you know it's coming,
Yeah.
which is exciting. So we did that, and we the last trivia that we did, again, I come in second place, and I really wasn't expecting to come in second place because it was like TV quote trivia. But it was like there were some things that I know. There was definitely some things that I didn't know, and there wasn't a whole lot of us in there because it was like during the second seating. So like that's when all the adults are out. So
Yeah.
well, with us having the earlier seating, like there was maybe like 6 groups in there. It's like, so maybe we have a chance now. So like the highest amount of points.
The ringers there too.
But my sister-in-law had talked to the host beforehand, like stating that I had come in second place like every single time. So the host for that trivia actually made me a little Disney keychain, if I can get it.
Oh, there it
It
is.
has a number 2 on it, and on the back it says second place Steven.
I love it. See, that's why I love Disney Cruise Line, because their cast does that kind of stuff. I love it.
Yeah, so I mean, just that little extra bit of pixie dust. Like, so I may not have gotten a plastic medallion, but I got a cruise line keychain out of it. So
I'll say in our summer one, I got a Disney Cruise Line fidget spinner because I had mad dance skills one night in the club.
nice.
I forget we were doing some kind of an adult game show, and I made some kind of comment about like I can't even. I'm not even going to go there because I got yelled at on social media about my answer. So I'm not even gonna. But it brought the house down, and I got
Oh
a
yeah,
fidget spinner for it. So, but I'm not going to give that answer again because somebody came after me, and I'm not going to go there because it was the right answer, but people got mad at me, so I'm not going to say it. Okay, but you did mixology class. Let's change the subject real quick.
yeah. So
Johnson,
that
I love mixology class on the cruise. I would do them every cruise. I'm not even really a drinker. The only time I really drink mixed drinks is on a cruise. Honestly, I don't drink beer or anything.
yeah.
But the thing is, I know nothing about like, I don't know, like bourbon or whiskey or like everybody knows all this stuff but me, right? But when I go in there, I'm like, I just love hearing the stories, like the histories of all these things, where they come from, what countries and how you mix them, because I know nothing of any of these things. And I
Yeah.
find it interesting.
So the mixology class that we went to was at Skyline, and right now, currently, Skyline is run by 3 amazing women. And so our bartender, I don't remember her name for this one. The different drinks, and what's cool about the mixology classes is that they invite you up to make the drinks.
Yes.
And so, like, if it's bad, don't blame the bartender because she's not the one who's making it. She's just telling you what to do. And like, it's really interactive, and like they count out the pours and like show you how and explain the difference and like why you need this and why you need sweet and bitter and strong and weak, all to make the drink come together. And 5 like really cool drinks that we made. And obviously they're small pours, so like you're not going and you're not getting completely sloshed.
Yes.
On a Disney cruise.
It gets me pretty good because I don't drink that much. Like, I'll be honest, like I don't try to, but they all taste good, right? I mean, because the thing is, I don't know why, but it seems like every one of them they make is pretty darn good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very good.
Variety of drinks too, usually each time. But like last time, they made some really nice, and like I don't even know martinis, but they made some kind of a martini, and it was so stinking good. My wife and I got like the full size version that night. We were watching the show in the tube.
Yeah, and one of the things that you do have to realize is like if you go to the mixology class and like they tell you it's a certain type of drink, like a Tom Collins or something, like this is a special Tom Collins. So like if you go to another bar, they're not going to make it this way. Mm-hmm. So you got to go back to that same bartender and they'll make it the way that they made it in the mix, or the way that you made it in the mixology class. Just keep that in mind when you're doing one of those. If there's a drink you really like, go back to that same bartender throughout the cruise.
But it's fun, and it's because we do these group cruises, and I mean we do like groups in there. Oh my gosh, we had Captain Mike Bankhead doing the Captain Morgan pose one time in the class. I'm telling you what, man, that was a hoot and a half. And one time we had to do back to back on one of our podcast cruises in Meridian, and somebody didn't show up, and I did both of them. And again, that was not a pretty sight. Yeah. Animator's Palette though that night for dinner. What'd you guys think of? Was that the Crush night? Did they do the Crush show?
Yes, that was the Crush night. Because we were in there the first night, and I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll get Crush on the first night, but it's really just the sail away dinner that everybody gets the same menu throughout all the restaurants. But so it was a great night to have it on the last night, especially like with the 6 kids, and we had them all set up closest to the screen. And our 12-year-old was the one who got picked by Crush to talk to.
Nice.
Which was great to see that interaction. And obviously got to give a shout out for the persets for the appetizer. So great. As well as the salmon tartare. That was fantastic too. Hands down, that was my wife's favorite dish of the cruise, was the salmon tartare that they have at Animator's Palette. And really just, with it being our last night, it was just a great like cap off to the retreat. I say the cruise. And we and the fact that the next morning, like if you do breakfast in the restaurant, you get to go to the restaurant from the night before. So we got to cap off like before we got off the ship was getting to go to Animator's Palette one more time and hang out with Massey and Goran, who had been phenomenal the entire trip, just so accommodating. And I'm sure that's all the servers on the Disney cruise, not just those two, but those are the two that we had. So I got a shout out to them because they were just amazing the entire time. Amazing with the kids. They're cutting up the food. Like, I don't cut up my kids' food. Why are you cutting up the food for them?
They were cutting up Mallory and her my niece's Zoe's food. They were 16 and 15. They're like little princesses. I'm like, she has a car. Like,
right?
Like, they're not princesses. Just let them be. Like, for real, make them work. No, that's exactly. And one other thing I will say, just kind of a tip of what you said. On debarkation day, you do have the opportunity to go up to Cabanas, and grab a quick breakfast and get off the ship real fast. But I do like that opportunity to go to the sit-down breakfast. It's basically the same food, but do say goodbye to your servers, right? They've been there with you throughout the cruise, and get a picture with them. Tell them how much they made your cruise better, and just I'm kind of a closure guy, and that kind of gives me closure for the cruise.
Yeah,
that's kind of my attitude with that. But I have gone to Cabanas because I've been in a hurry, and then I regret it. Like, it's like, I wish I could have said goodbye and got a picture. Yeah. I just felt that way. Real quick, somebody's asking over on Instagram, did you guys encounter any rare characters on the ship? Like anybody that you would consider rare that you got to meet?
I personally didn't. And I would have to talk to my kids a little bit more of the times that they weren't with me. What's cool about the ship is like you'll see characters just kind of walking around like through the atrium, and like they'll stop and they'll talk and they'll interact with you. Like Mulan stopped and talked with our girls as she was making her way to her spot where she was going to take pictures. And that's what's a little bit different than the parks. And I know that the parks are trying to bring that back a little bit, but really just seeing them walking about, I really didn't see any out of the box characters that are necessarily rare, personally.
Okay. Just somebody's asking. So real quick though, because we got about 5 minutes left and try to squeeze this in. Did you guys go to any of the big shows in Walt Disney Theater? And if so, what was your favorite?
So I did 2 of the 3. I didn't do Believe, but I did the Aladdin show and the Frozen show. Both really good. The performances and the performers, and when you realize that the performers are the same performers from each show, and the fact that they're getting up and doing these things and like they remember all this stuff.
That kills me because I can't remember where I put my shoes.
And I did theater in high school. I'm like, and just getting ready for one show was a lot. I'm like, and they're ready to do 3 shows in 5 nights. And it was incredible watching them performance, and like the way that Frozen was done. It's just really nice, and the way that they, but I think I liked Aladdin a little bit better. And the way that the genie brought in some, pop culture references,
Same.
and that's the thing about live theater. Like you can do that. And it totally makes sense, and it hits a little bit differently than the films do.
Yeah. The genie, because he was also, there was a show called the Golden Mickeys a long time ago where they had a character who did the same thing. They brought in current day references, and it always brought the house down, right? It's like, it's kind of,
which
it was like adult
Disney.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a little bit over the kids' heads, and it was just fun for the adults. Yeah, I miss it. Those shows, you got to see those shows, but sometimes you got to miss a show because, there's just, like you said it so well, like you can't do everything. Because I encourage everybody to make sure you go up on top deck and see a sunset. Like,
you
got to see the beauty of nature. If you're from a place like Missouri, or, like at least you guys get to see the Gulf, right? I mean, you're down there, near a great big body of water, but, we never see the ocean. I just love being able to just see just how beautiful, how small we are, and, have perspective on life when I'm out there in the middle of the ocean. Like, you think you think you're such a big deal. And then you get out there and you're like, man, this ship was huge when we were in port, and now it's just a speck out here. I think I like to think about those things. You got to kind of have time for that too, kind of big picture thing. And, the shows are great and everything, but have a moment out there on, sunrise, sunset, at night. Look at the.
And another cool thing is like being able to see the other ships that are out on the water with you too.
Yeah.
Not just, we saw the Disney Wish from afar because like our Castaway Day, they couldn't dock on their day. So, felt that camaraderie with them, even though they were, a couple miles away, but like they were there in view. And, and it's exactly as you say, like enjoy the beauty, because it is a great big world out there and we are just a small part of it.
Absolutely. It is. So you guys wrapped up your trip. You went back to Walt Disney World, just kind of closed out with Wilderness Lodge and Geyser Point. So any highlights from over there?
Yeah. Really the pool, and just getting to not be in a pool with super crowded.
Normal days, we got an actual pool.
It's an actual pool, and the water slide goes into the pool, and like really just enjoying Wilderness Lodge, because that's my in-laws' home DVC resort, which we just love staying there. It's like it's so peaceful out there on Bay Lake, and really getting to enjoy Geyser Point, which is such a great restaurant right there on the water, open to see that. And especially like that night, I was like, since you don't really have a good fireworks view from Wilderness Lodge at Magic Kingdom, but you have a great view of the electrical water pageant, which, has been going since almost day one. And the fact that it's still there and going strong, it's such a classic Disney attraction that you can enjoy for free, from your resort.
And hassle-free when you're at Wilderness Lodge, because you don't have to like fight the crowds, get back, get on a bus, get on a boat, get on a monarch. You just boom.
Exactly. Highly recommend, if you're able to, after your Disney cruise coming out of Port Canaveral, stay a night. It just really kind of relaxes you from, if you had a hustle and bustle trip on the boat, even if you had a relaxing trip, just kind of settles you back into the real world before you have to go back to the real world.
Great tip. Okay, real quick before we get out of here, one thing. So you did your first Disney cruise. So what advice would you have for somebody, or maybe something that kind of changed your mind from going into it? Now that you've sailed on the Fantasy, you've sailed Disney Cruise Line, what would you tell folks maybe that are in your situation? Maybe they haven't sailed yet and they're getting ready to with a family. Like what did you learn? What would you tell folks?
Find what's going to make you the most happy. And realize that cruising may not be for everybody. I know like you love it. And I think the Castaway Cay day kind of like maybe soured me a little bit that maybe this is not my preferred mode of vacationing. Just because I'm a very get up and go. I love the get up and go of a Disney World vacation because I can kind of choose my own pace. But going at your own pace, finding the things that are going to make you enjoy it to the max. Like the rainforest room for me, like 100% length of stay, totally worth it. But that may not be your thing. That's one of the things is like, there's enough stuff that you're going to have a good time. You can find it. And really, when it comes to a vacation, it's what you put into it. That's what you're going to get out of it. If you go in thinking like, oh man, we can't dock at Castaway Cay, this is just ruin the entire day. You can let it ruin your entire day, ruin the entire vacation. Or just realizing like, this gives me an opportunity to do something else, even though it's a bummer in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, you can say, oh, we didn't get to go to Castaway Cay, or you can say, oh, we just got a bonus sea day. Just kind of glass half empty, glass half full kind of thing. It's not what you wanted, but it's what you got, and you got to deal with it. It is, it's not ideal, but I'm glad you still had a great time with your family. Great perspective. And I appreciate you taking the time to start the week. And I've been telling everybody I've had cruise fever for the last couple of months, and this just took it to like the next level. So I'm so excited.
It's coming just a few months away, Mike.
Gosh, it's one of those things like you don't want to wish away the best part of the year, right? Spring is so beautiful, so much exciting things going on. But, I think we all get that way with our Disney vacations. We're always, everybody's got the countdowns, and I don't want to count down the days. Every day is a blessing, and, there's so much good stuff going on. But I'm excited to get to July 6th.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shit, dude. It's a dilemma. But I appreciate taking the time, and, have a great spring and summer down there with that wonderful family. And we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right. Don't forget today's podcast, always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure. You want to sail out there with Disney Cruise Line, we'll help you with that. Also, Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So just check out all the details today, and it's no additional cost to use. And check out all the details over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Every time you click through there, it supports the show. So please do that as often as you can. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys make this show possible. We cannot thank you enough for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. So come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. We'll have a live call-in show this Sunday night. Well, Scott will be in Hawaii. I'm not jealous. Not at all. Not that he's on the beach in Hawaii at Alani with his family, but I'll be here in beautiful St. Charles, Missouri, taking your calls, and I'll need your calls because it'll just be you and I, just us. And we'll be talking about all the Disney news. Who knows what'll be happening by Sunday night, but give me a call. We can do mini trip reports, whatever you want. And we'll be on the air 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central for an hour. So give me a call. We'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Pick your location. We'll be there. Also, join us in the clubhouse. That's where we have the conversations going 24/7, 365. We talk sports. We talk all the Disney stuff. We have a channel for the resorts, the theme parks, cruise line, everything. We talk life. We're talking about, let's see, today is a recording. We had a big, long conversation about those paper cutters that teachers had in the days back in the 80s. Now it was a miracle we didn't lose fingers as students and teachers back in the day. I'm telling you, if you want to be entertained, come to the clubhouse. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse, free for everybody, and it's the greatest place ever. Also, give me a follow on social media at beourguestmike, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads is where I reside. All right, we're going to get out of here and wish you a great week. Hope you're having a great Monday, and we'll see you on Wednesday. It'll be time for listener questions by then. So for Steven down in LSU country in Louisiana, I'm Mike. You know where I'm at. Mizzou country, M-I-Z. We'll see you on Wednesday. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. I just know Mizzou's going to lose on Thursday, so I got to ride it out one more day because it's
at least you're in the dance. You're in the dance.
It's true, but it's just the life of. I mean, we're playing a Valley team, Drake, and they're just going to. I just know. I can't even hardly watch tomorrow.
We'll see.
I'm so nervous. Oh, it's just the life of a Mizzou fan, man. It's just If we get one win, I'll be happy probably. I mean, we have a good team, but I can't even. I won't sleep tonight. Anyway, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for taking the time. And because I know you're busy with that family.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. If you need anything, give me a yell, and you take care down there.
All right, will do. Thanks, Mike.
Take care. Bye-bye.